Everybody doing good? Awesome.
How did Quan look in the first, full padded practice that he's been through tomorrow?
I thought he looked pretty good. He's I've got to go back and watch the tape, but watch him closely during our little tackling drill that we do before practice, and just to let him get loose and get comfortable again. But he's been building. He's been working for this for a while, so it's gonna be cool to see him out there if he can make it out there Saturday. So.
Is it something with him where for him to play, you would need to feel comfortable with him getting 100% of the snaps?
Not necessarily. Dre Greenlaw's done such a good job over the course of the year. Still want to make sure he's included in the game plan and all that stuff. But again, there's still a couple more hurdles that Quan also has to go through. But want to make sure Dre is fully involved also.
How about D? How's D coming?
D's coming along good. Same thing. He's got some things to work through this week too, but so far, so good.
Well, there's, I guess, different reasons for it, but you look in games when D has not played, there's games when he has played, obviously the sack numbers are up, just the numbers overall are up. I guess, is that probably not a surprise to you? Has he been as impactful on the field as you expect him to be this year?
Yeah, he has been. We've talked about when you've got a guy like D Ford who possesses the speed he does off the edge, it creates so much space for the guys inside. And whenever you've got a guy outside that can create the space where you get a true one-on-one where they can't get a hand on you, there's no makeshift double team, it just makes everybody on the defensive line better. It kind of unlocks everything. So he's a major asset. That's why he's one of the best in football. That's why he was thought after this past last season. So hopefully he continues to move in the right direction and we can get him back.
Robert, from a technical standpoint, what's the most impressive or unique thing about Nick in his rookie season?
Well, from a technical standpoint, obviously his hand-eye coordination is some of the best I've ever been around. He can get in there really, really close. He loves close quarter combat, and his movement skills, his instincts in pass rush, his feel in pass rush is beyond what a rookie feels. And the scary thing is, I was talking to Kasarik today, he's only going to get better. There's so many things that he can learn from a recognition standpoint, play diagnosis standpoint, post-snap. So he's only going to get better. But to answer your question, it's all the close quarter stuff that he's really good at.
What benefit does the hand-eye coordination have for a pass rusher like him?
Because it's really all hand-to-hand combat, getting your hand placement onto the body, chest plate where you need to, being able to swipe the hands down while moving as fast as you possibly can, especially when you're in here really, really tight and you're trying to work a move so you can work half a man on an offensive line. So all that, it's all hand-to-hand combat really with the offensive line.
He was about rushing Kirk Cousins yesterday, and his answer was, "You're not going to be able to rush him unless you stop the run." Is that your primary message to your guys this week? That it's
this is a run-first team. You got to be able to stop the run. They do a really good job first and second down. They're very similar to our offense in regard to its play-action pass, its max pro, its shots downfield, boots, run game. So we've got to strap up our big boy pads and get ready to play some ball this week.
Do you think they're similar to your offense help you in preparing for them?
There's a familiarity just because of the concepts and all that stuff, but they've got things to deal with the back. Dalvin Cook's unbelievable. The quarterback's really good. The receivers are really good. The tight end, they're a very, very talented group. Very talented group. From a concept standpoint, it does help that there's familiarity and that we know how to play things or some recall, but we got our hands full with the talent they have for sure.
The challenges that Cousins presents, looking at the numbers, it seems like he avoids mistakes, only 6 interceptions, and he's very accurate in completion percentage. What do you see when you look at him?
Same thing that the stats show, in that he is very, very decisive with the football. He knows exactly where he needs to go. The pre-snap movement of the defense or the post-snap movement of the defense doesn't really fool him very often. He knows post-snap, by the time he hits his back foot, where that ball needs to go. He knows where everyone is on the football field, and because of it, he can make a very smart decision. And so that's, to answer your question, it's his decision-making and his mind and how quick it works while he's in his drop and all that stuff. So he's worth every penny they pay him.
Richard Sherman's ability to prepare for teams and sort of know what's coming based on splits and alignments and things like that. Have you ever seen a player as good at that part of preparation as he is?
Not at corner. Usually they're out there, they just want to cover people. You get it a lot at linebacker. I think Fred's exceptional at that stuff. Bobby Wagner, all those guys, Paul Puzzolazzi in the past, just from my experience. But when you talk about at the corner spot, he's definitely on the elite side.
What makes Dalvin Cook so difficult to defend?
Dalvin's first off, his vision through the hole, working one gap at a time is special. His body balance, his power. He's not an arm tackle type back. You gotta bring your pads with you. He's got tremendous balance, good ball security, but his vision, being able to hit the hole, and when he hits it with so much speed and power. It's very hard to expect to bring him down with an arm tackle. You've got to get your body on him, and there's got to be two at the contact point every play.
Madison, similar?
Talked about how Quan
He is a good back, Madison. He is a very talented back.
Phyllis has talked about how Quan Alexander is like an MVP of the team because of his energy. How important is that to get that back on the field?
Having Quan is exciting. He brings a lot of juice, a lot of energy. He gets even in practice. If there's a lull in practice, he's the first to speak up to get guys going. And from a coach's view, it's very beneficial to have a guy who, regardless whether it's bad or good, his voice is projecting positive energy and trying to get people rolling. So to have Quan, aside from the player, just from the juice and the energy he brings and what he does for everybody around him is really priceless.
With Sherman's preparation, again, is that something that is only unique to just a very small group of people, like an innate ability, or is that something that maybe could be taught or picked up by
I think every player, every human can relentlessly work towards whatever they're trying to get. The ceiling that you're capable of will only be capped by what you're mentally placing on yourself. So I guess to answer your question, I do think that everyone is capable. It's just whether or not you're willing to actually go the extra mile to go do it. Some might have to work harder than others, but I still think it's capable in everybody.
How did your interview with the Browns go, and what was that experience like?
I'll be honest. Yeah, I'm very grateful for Cleveland coming out here and their hospitality and all that. But I'm so locked in on Minnesota. So with respect to everybody, I just like to keep it about them.
Do you understand what Stefanski's imprint on the offense is? A lot of talk about Kubiak and his influence on it, how it's so similar to what Kyle does. But is there something unique about what Stefanski brings to that?
I'm sure there is, because you see a lot of the concepts that Kubiak did. Bob has run back in his when he was coordinator, head coach, and all that stuff. And I'm sure Stefanski through his years has put some wrinkles in there too. So, but there's definitely a foundation that we're very familiar with. That comes from what Coob's been in the past, and it's a really good system.
From Witherspoon to Mosley last week in the game, can you talk about how they've been in practice so far this week?
They've been practicing really well. They both have, and they're both competing and looking for an opportunity to play.
Bikello obviously has had back-to-back games where probably not best. How will you make that decision? Are you looking very hard at those last two games, or is it strictly going to be a practice thing?
I do. On the, I'll be honest. When you look at it on the surface level, it's very easy to see. It's easy, right? There's a Kello, there's a guy catching the football, but people don't really understand what happened for that to happen. They don't understand whether or not somebody actually busted for, and he may have been making up for somebody and shouldn't have been there in the first place. So there's a Kello actually, when you go back and look at that tape, played a pretty good football game. There was a couple of situations where he got caught in a bad situation, and so either way, his ability to go just put those to bed and compete his tail off will always define whether or not he can finish and play games at his best. But to say he played a poor game against Seattle would be, I'll be honest with all of y'all, it'd be inaccurate.
What have you seen from Earl Mitchell, and what do you sort of expect out of him this week?
Earl, you kind of see like a little fountain of youth out of the man. He's excited. He doesn't talk much, so it's hard to get words out of him. But he's excited to be here, and we're excited to have him.
Coming back to Witherspoon real quick, on his final play when he gave up the touchdown, what was the breakdown on that play?
So on the final play, they gave us 4 strong. So for a corner, he's thinking slant. Just play your technique, and don't guess, don't overanalyze. Just play your technique, stay on top, and you'll be in good shape. But he was going to play a play, didn't get the play he was looking for, and usually that corner is costly.
Obviously, they're play the same position in the same scheme, but they're very different size-wise. Are they different from a size and skill set perspective that maybe you evaluate the matchup as much as anything, or is it just about who's playing better at the moment?
Oh, you're talking about Spoon and Mosley. It's really, I think the whole size thing is great only if you can cover. And so Mosley can cover, Spoon can cover. They both do a really nice job. It doesn't really matter matchup-wise to me because you saw Mosley handle DK Metcalf earlier in the season, and DK is a big boy. So it's whether or not you can cover, you can use your length, you can use your leverage. And really it just comes down to them putting in a couple of really good days of practice and just competing, and then we'll get to Saturday.
Why was he benched?
I'll keep that one in-house if you don't mind. I'm sorry about that one, but yeah, I'll just leave that one alone.
What are some of the challenges that you have facing Adam Thielen, Stephon Diggs, as they're both interchangeable from outside and inside slot? Like, what are the challenges, and how confident are you in being able to contain them?
They both pose tremendous problems in the fact that Adam is a really, really good route runner, so is Stephon, really strong at the catch point, and but either way, it's still a challenge because they both can win one-on-one matchups. They can both gain separation. They can both catch the ball pretty easily, and they're both very, very powerful receivers. So it's always a challenge because you can't account for everyone on the football field, and there's going to be times where we got to win a one-on-one battle. It's going to be crunch time. It's going to be a 3rd and 6 or whatever it is, and you got to win. And so it's always a challenge with all the weapons because you still got to deal with 82, you still got to deal with the back, you still got to deal with Kirk. So they've got a lot of talent on that offense, and so but just being mindful, we can take them away with certain coverages, but there are going to be points in the game where we got to win a one-on-one, and that's going to be our greatest challenge.
Given that some of the games you've had against the run, where you've struggled against, say, Baltimore and Arizona, there were quarterbacks that could also run. Is Minnesota more of a direct challenge, sort of less deceptive challenge, more of a just take it on at the point of attack team?
Yeah, it is more of a old school, grinded out offense. You know, when you look at the Shanahan system and the zone scheme, and going way back to the Denver days with Terrell Davis and all that. So they're a very physical bunch. They really are, and so the challenge really is to we got to do a great job setting edges, filling gaps, and making sure that the back doesn't really have a lane to run through.
All right, thank you guys.
All right, thanks everybody.
Howdy.
We're wondering how Jimmy's going to do in his very first playoff start. What concerns should anyone have about that new experience for Tyler?
I don't know. I haven't played in a playoff game either, so I'm not really worried. Jimmy's been doing it all year. Every primetime game he shows up, plays well. I mean, he's just going to do him, and he's going to play really well. And I just have that expectation of him, and I have all the confidence in the world in him.
He doesn't play on the side of the ball that Sherman's known for his preparation and figure out what the offense is doing based on alignments and splits and things like that. As an offensive player or just somebody in the locker room, does any of that rub off on guys on your side of the ball in terms of just preparation and habits and things like that?
Yes and no. I mean, I know I listen to Sherman in the locker room. He talks to guys all the time. It could just be from walking from the locker room to the cafeteria. He's giving tips. Hey, we're going to have this in practice on this. You need to do this. He talks the entire day, so he does a great job of that. He's had the experience. We have guys with experience. So everyone that's done the playoffs, they've played in the big games. They've definitely shared their thoughts on it. But at the same time, we've been playing good football all year, and I think it's just we're just going to go out there and try to do what we've been doing all year.
Has there ever been any point in the last 2 years where you ask him about specific defenses and has he been helpful in those scenarios?
I might ask him man coverage and a route, hey, if I have this type of route, do I want to attack how do I attack his leverage, stuff like that, which he's always been a completely open book on that, which has been incredibly helpful for me. But yeah, I mean, if I need something, I always ask, and I know he talks to the wide receivers if they need stuff too, and I know he's had conversations with Jimmy. So yeah, Sherman's an open book, and he wants to teach guys, and that's what I love about him.
As you said, this is your first playoff game. Does the week feel different, and how important is it to keep things pretty status quo?
I don't know. It feels like another week. I know, like, if you lose, you're done, which is a weird feeling, so I haven't had that one yet. But no, I think the whole team's done a really good job of handling their business this week. We had 2 really good practices last week on the bye week, and we've had good practice this whole week. So, I mean, everyone's on top of their stuff. Everyone's been in their books. And, we're just excited to play football on Saturday.
How has the addition of Emmanuel impacted this offense?
Say again, sorry?
How has the addition of Sanders impacted the offense?
I mean, other than winning us like 3 or 4 games by himself, him and Jimmy, it's been pretty helpful. And the greatest thing about Emmanuel is, like, he didn't really have to learn anything. When you got like that, who's done it before, and I mean, he was kind of in our offense, with Coach Skang up there and with the Broncos, and he didn't have to learn anything. It was just he just went out there and did it. Like, there was no connection between him and Jimmy. It was just instant. Didn't have to build a chemistry or anything like that. So that's definitely been very helpful. And I know Emmanuel's really excited to be here. And like I said, he's won us a couple games basically by himself. And we're gonna count on him going forward in these playoffs.
Vikings defense has been effective against tight ends this year. When watching film, what have you seen of them? What have they done?
They have a lot of different coverages and stuff. I mean, they do a good job. They focus on tight ends. So, I mean, I'm just, whatever Coach Shanahan has schemed up, I'm just going to do that. It's been working for me so far this year, and I'm just going to keep doing that.
You feel like Shanahan's a counterbalance for whatever they have to throw at you?
Like I said, it's worked all year. I think we've done pretty good at the tight end position this year in the whole room, whether it was me, Ross, Dwelly, or Levine, or Selleck. So I think we're just going to keep attacking it like we have been, and let the game take care of itself. There's going to be ups and downs, and when I have my name called, I just got to make the play.
Having Quan and Tart and Ford back in practice, what is the energy level like, and how does that kind of pump you guys up?
It's awesome. Those guys, I mean, getting to watch the defense, back at its full strength when you got, Kowalski out there, our linebackers, you got D and Bose on the edge. It's just fun to watch, honestly. And I think, sometimes in practice, you'll, like, when the defense is up and the offense is off, you'll be talking, about plays and stuff. But, like, this week, when we got all of our guys back, you kind of want to watch because it's just fun to see them working together again. And they've definitely brought the tempo back and, picked it up a little bit. So it's fun to be out there with them and see those guys just get to play.
George, how do you feel like your own personal skill set has developed or changed this season?
This season? I mean, you get better with every game. If you just attack it, each and every single play, you get better. You figure things out, whether it's, how to sit somewhere in a zone, man coverage, how to beat it with certain leverages, techniques like that. And I think, game by game, I think my game's definitely gotten better. And, every practice extra that I get, every game extra that I get this postseason just helps me try to become a better player.
It's going to be the first playoff game for Levi Stadium for a guy like you and Jimmy. Is it better to keep your emotions under control or just to dive in and live it out loud as much as you can?
I'm going to do what I've been doing for the last 16 games, or 14, sorry, I missed 2. But I'm just going to play football, and I'm going to have fun doing it. And, I feel like if you change things up, you get kind of, that's probably not for the best. And so, our team's been doing that. Nothing's really changed this whole week. The intensity's kind of been up, but I'm just going to go play football.
George, is your dad still writing those pregame letters? And because this is your first playoff game, are you expecting something a little special?
Yes, he does still write those, and yes, I'm definitely expecting something a little bit extra. The last game versus Seattle, usually it's about 4 pages, and it was definitely like a 6-pager, which I like. The more, the better. I like reading it, so I expect a short story this time.
What do you expect from the crowd?
Levi Stadium? Well, I mean, they've been incredible all year, home or away games. All of our away games felt like home games. So I just expect them to be incredible. Definitely we got to give them something to cheer about, give them something to back. And if we get rolling, I know Levi Stadium's going to be right behind us.
Were you surprised to see the Vikings?
Say again?
Were you surprised that the Vikings were the team that you're going to face?
It's the playoffs. Nothing really surprises me. The Patriots losing kind of surprised me just because it's Tom Brady, and I never bet against Tom Brady. So other than that, no.
All right. Thanks, George. Got a Forrest here for you guys.
Thanks, guys.
How we doing, everybody?
What's been the impact of having D and Quan back this week?
Yeah, having their presence out there on the field, the energy, obviously Quan always brings the energy. Having them on the field is a good feeling. D and Kwaski, you know what I mean? Having them out there running around with the team, trying to get back in the flow of things is definitely encouraging.
How do they look to you?
They look pretty good, I know they're all excited. Like I said, having their presence out there is really big, especially for the defense, the morale. And, seeing them go through their drills, and some of the periods, they look really good.
Nick talked yesterday about how D being back can really help the interior guys and the passers. How does he impact you?
Yeah, having him out there with all of us really affects, blocking schemes. It's just another really good pass rusher out there that, they got to pick and choose on who they want to double or, slide the protection to. And having him and Nick out there, even having Nick on the edge, they can't really slide one way or another. They have to pick and choose.
What kind of a challenge does Dalvin Cook and the Vikings running game? What kind of a challenge do they present for you guys?
Yeah, they're a really good run team, especially with Dalvin Cook back there. Obviously, coming into this game and throughout the year, obviously against the run hasn't been our strong suit throughout the year, and I know they're definitely going to challenge us in the run game early. And especially with Dalvin Cook back there, he's one of the best in the league, and we just got to do a really good job with shutting that down early.
The games where it seems like you've struggled most with the run have come against teams with a quarterback that can run, where you got to worry about. Mm-hmm. This isn't the case this time. These guys, is this more of a direct point of attack, man-to-man challenge than other run teams?
Definitely, but they also do a really good job with the play-action pass and the boot game. With getting Kirk out of the pocket. And, really maxing up protection to, try not to get him hit. And that's when he does, his best, when he doesn't have any pressure, obviously, like any other quarterback. But especially when Kirk doesn't have any pressure in his face or constantly under pressure, he does a really good job, getting the ball downfield.
You've been with there a long time. I've said a long time. What's allowed him to lift his game up?
Yeah, just his work ethic, you know what I mean? Taking on the challenge of playing a new position, obviously this year with widening out and playing a wide nine, using, his size to his advantage and, setting the edge, especially in the run game. And also taking that next step in, pass rushing wise. Last year he was getting a lot of pressure and he missed a couple sacks, and this year he finally finished. And, seeing his growth, in his overall game within, the past couple of years in knowing him, it's just been great to see.
Does this week feel different?
For me personally, feels like another week, to be honest. You know what I mean? I try not to get too high or too low, and you can see it around around the building. Everybody's pretty even keel. We all know what's at stake. It's obviously our first playoff game for majority of the team. You know what I mean? We're a really young team, and just being able to approach the week like any other, and really focusing on the details, and really getting our bodies right off of this bye has really helped us a lot. And so, like we've been talking about earlier, hopefully we can get some other guys back, and we can really get into this game and really get after the Vikings.
Richard Sherman's been through this thing so many times. Mm-hmm. Do you notice a difference in him in this week, or is he the same guy?
No, he's the same guy. And Sherman's been doing a really good job with emphasizing, making sure everybody knows just the little details. We got to stay on the details just because it's the little things that'll get you beat, especially at this time of the year. And obviously he knows he's a former Super Bowl champ. So, really, he's been really just, reiterating all the little things that we need to keep, stay up on and, really taking care of our bodies.
All right, guys. Thanks, Depot.
All right, thank you.
We've got Sherm and Fred Warner will be up first.
so many times, when you look at a guy like Jimmy, who's never played a postseason game, what's that going to be like for him, do you think, knowing who he is?
I don't think it's going to be any different. Field's the same size, ball's the same size. He'll be fine.
What is different for you come playoff time? I mean, does the intensity go up, or how would you describe this?
More people asking you questions about things that you already answered questions about. That's about it for us. At the end of the day, the game's the same. You go out there, you play hard, you execute. If you execute well enough, you win. If you don't, you go home.
Is it better to face a team that you haven't faced before in the year at this point or not?
It doesn't matter. Yeah, you got time to prepare for them. You're well prepared either way. If you played them before, I guess it's a little easier on lighter load on the coaches. But yeah, it's the same. You prepare. You get the looks. You go out there and you got to execute.
What kind of lift does it give you guys defensively to get D, Quan, and Tart back this week?
It'd be great. There's 3 veteran players who are starters on this defense who make an impact. And they all play at a high level, so it'd be great to have them back.
Sanders said yesterday that guys like Debo and KB, he tells you that he keeps you guys young. How important is that just this week with the playoff atmosphere, just keeping free and loose and all that?
Well, I mean, those kids, it's all season. Like I said, it's no different than any other week. It's gonna be a great time. Those guys are gonna go out there, have a good time, and execute like they know how. But at the end of the day, we leave the storylines and the pageantry to the media and the fans. You go out there and you execute, you win. You don't execute, you go home.
You know the impact that home field advantage has. You had it in Seattle. What would you like to tell the people their impact will do on Saturday? An actual sporting impact on the game.
Well, I mean, like I said, it's no different than the regular season. If they make noise when their offense is on the field, and it can cause false starts and trouble with communication, that'd be great. If not, sit back and enjoy the show.
Sherm, there's a lot of talk right now about diversity and hiring in the NFL and maybe the lack thereof. At the same time, you guys have a staff member who's in a national TV ad who's an example of some diversity. I'm wondering, what do you think of having Katie Sowers on the, I know you don't, she works on the other side of the ball, but what do you think having her on the staff means for the team and what can be done for more diversity?
I think it's great. She does a great job. She does a great job with our receivers and preparing them and making sure they're prepared week in and week out, obviously along with Wes and Miles. But I think it's always going to be a challenge in this game, whether it's male, female, or whether it's coaches of color, getting head coaching gigs. I think it's always going to be a conversation. It's the owners still look a certain way and they still come from a very old background. So it's going to be this way until things change, and no matter how much people say about it, no matter how much people say, oh, Rooney Rule, you got to interview these guys. The coaches will still look a certain way for the most part. Every now and then there'll be coaches owners that go out of the norm and hire some coaches. But I think it's unfortunate because, there's a lot of very qualified coaches of color and female coaches that deserve a job and deserve to get an opportunity to be head coaches. I think, sometimes in this game it gets into the cycle of, just old school, just like the combine. The 40 and all that is obsolete and it's dumb. People are really fast and can't play football, but every year you sit there and they're, oh my God, look at this guy ran a 4.3, and you look up and the All-Pro team is full of guys who ran 4.4, 4.5, and didn't go out the combine and kill it, but they're all pros in this league. And then the coaching is the same. The coaches, you can be terrible as a head coach, and hey, no matter what, in a couple more years you're going to get another job and you're going to get recycled back if you look a certain way, and that's an unfortunate part. Obviously Robert Saleh is a person of color and got an interview, but I think Lovie Smith, there's tons of coaches out there that deserve a head coaching job. Bieniemy, but those guys aren't even getting the look, and the ones that are getting the look are just getting it so they can check the Rooney Rule box off. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much you talk about it because it's not changing. The people who could change it make billions and billions of dollars, and they can care less.
Having worked with Saleh closely, do you think that he is deserving of that head coaching job?
I 100% believe he's deserving of a head coaching job. He's done a great job. He commands the room really well. He has a great way of relating to his players and holding them accountable. But like I said before, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter what I think. The people who make those decisions don't seem like they're hiring people of color very often. So.
What do you anticipate as being the biggest challenge going up against the Vikings offense?
Just being disciplined. You know, they run the ball well. Kurt is very efficient with what he does. He doesn't turn the ball over. He doesn't make very many mistakes. So just being on the details just like they are and being locked in for 60 minutes.
You can go from with Akello last week to Mosley. Can you talk about those two, what you've seen from those?
Say that one more time. I didn't
The
hear.
decision to go from Akello to Mosley last week. Can you talk about those two, how they've been practicing?
Oh, both of them have been practicing really well, and both of them has played well throughout the season. You know, obviously I don't make those decisions, so you'd have to ask Kyle or Salah or Joe, whoever makes those calls. But both of them have been preparing really, really well, and both of them are ready to go.
When you saw the game, the Minnesota-New Orleans game, you as a cornerback, what do you think about that Rudolph play? Was it pass interference or not? Offensive pass interference?
I don't feel the way either way. You know, I mean, you play DB in this league, you learn to play with your hands behind your back, tied up, one leg, because that's just how it is. You know, it doesn't matter what I think about that play. They didn't call it, so it's touchdown in this game. If the DB would have grabbed his hand, they probably would have called defensive pass interference and gave him another chance. So, you know, that's what the league wanted when they came up with these rules, and that's what they're getting.
You mentioned Cousins' efficiency. What distinguishes him from other quarterbacks? What makes him as effective as he is?
Well, he throws the ball away when he needs to. He throws the ball into the ground. He throws the ball into a spot when he has somebody open. You know, at times when other quarterbacks would force it in there, he doesn't. You know, he looks down the field. He checks everything. He checks every box, and then he goes to his outlets when he needs to. And he's not afraid to do that. He doesn't get impatient. He'll take checkdowns all game if that's what the defense gives him.
Emmanuel was in here yesterday talking about how Kendrick Bourne and Deebo Samuel kind of are important, that youth is important for the ecosystem of the team. Do you believe the same thing?
Oh, 100%, 100%. You know, they're too young to know any better, and that's always good. You know, when you're too young to know any better, then the circumstances don't matter. You just get to play football one more time, and that's what these guys are thinking, and that's what you appreciate about youth. You know, they get another opportunity to go out there and do their dances and do all their choreographed handshakes, and you know, as a team, you appreciate it.
All right, thanks, Sheriff.
Thank you.
Fred Warner will be right in.
We got time before Saturday.
Good afternoon. Yeah.
It seems like a couple of the games that you guys have given up the most rushing yards this year have been against teams that have a running quarterback, that have that element of deception, you know, where it might be him, it might be the running back. That isn't the case this time. This is more of a, you know, come right at you team. Is this more of a point of attack challenge than, say, other teams?
Yeah, I mean, they run the football really well, very effective at it. You know, it's going to be a grimy game for sure. I mean, both teams, I think even, you know, they know that they want to run the ball, and we know what they're trying to do. So, you know, it's going to be grimy. We're going to have to get after it.
How do you assess Dalvin Cook?
Dalvin, very good back. He's had an outstanding season. You know, great contact balance. He's looking to get downhill right now in open space. He's a cutback player. You know, elusive. So, yeah, we're going to have to make sure we're on top of it with him.
Did you notice last week when he and Demario Davis collided a couple of times in key spots, and it was Cook that didn't move Demario? I mean,
Yeah.
Can you get anything from plays like that?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, like his contact balance, I mean, his balance is really good. I mean, he's not like the biggest back, but he plays a lot bigger than he is. You know, he's strong. You know, it's going to take more than arm tackles or just one guy. It's going to be, you know, group gang tackling him, you know, making sure everybody gets to the ball.
What stands out to you about Kirk on film and what he does well?
Yeah, I think he I don't want to say game manager because that kind of has a negative connotation, but I mean, he makes very, very good decisions. You know, he can launch the football, doesn't turn the ball over. So, I mean, that's all great
great things to keep to win football games, obviously. You know, and all starts with the run. Once they get the running game going, the pass opens up. Obviously, they've been very efficient play action passes. So, yeah.
The play action you mentioned, what are the biggest challenges for a linebacker in sort of dealing with a team that runs as much as they do?
Yeah, I mean, if they get the run going, then you're obviously having to bite up on the run, and so they can hit things behind you. So, I mean, seeing how the offensive line comes off the ball is key. You know, seeing how they come off and run, how they come off and play action. Yeah.
What has it been like to have Quan back at practice?
It's been legendary. You know, no, it's been really, really great. You know, it's just a different swag, energy out there when he's on the field. You know, it's great having him back out there. He looks great, so it should be fun having him back out there this weekend.
What kind of impact do you expect him having on Saturday?
I think whenever he's in the game, I mean, I expect him to have a big impact. You know, I think obviously his legs are fresh, he's ready to go. He's always talking about how he's going to get the ball before I am, so you know we got that on the line. Yeah, but I'm expecting him to have a pretty big impact for us.
What's the best thing anyone's told you about approaching your very first postseason game?
I mean, not making the situation bigger than it is. You know, yeah, it's good. There's going to be a lot of fans. It's going to be loud. It's going to be a lot on the line. But at the same time, trying to keep the same routine throughout the week. You know, I'm not going to change something up from what I regularly do just because it's playoff time. You know, just making sure that you're doing what you always do, but to the best of your ability. I think that's all you can ask of yourself.
Dealt with guys being in and out of the lineup on defense, especially the second half of the year, to get Tart back and D back and Quan back in time for the playoffs. What does that do for you guys as a unit?
Yeah, I think it's just kind of a confidence boost. You know, I think it's been a while since we've had all those guys back on the field together. You know, the more weapons we have, the more more I guess powerful we're going to be on Saturday.
Was there any backstory or any gift, something that happened with Dre after that play him in Seattle that you guys did for him or to him after that enormous play?
That we did for him or to him?
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, if there's something, I don't know, maybe something that just you guys did, like, I don't know.
Sure. I mean, I'm sure. I mean, in the moment, right after the hit, I didn't know what really was going on. I didn't know if the guy had fumbled it or, you know, if we stopped him. So after we saw the replay, everybody, you know, knew that we won the game. You know, Dre obviously was the hero. So he's the one that got us that first round bye, and you know, I'm looking to him to have a really good game come Saturday.
How key was it that when you lose Quan and you have some defensive injuries, that you have a young guy like that who can step in and really be and help you guys kind of bridge the gap till Quan gets back?
Yeah, I don't even think it gets talked about enough, honestly. You know, Dre coming in for Quan, like you said, as a rookie. You know, we've asked a lot of him throughout the weeks, and you know, game plan's always changing. He stayed steady. You know, it's never perfect. It's never perfect for anybody. You know, so I think, you know, just how he's flown around to the ball, you know, made the hits he's supposed to make, and just been solid. So, you know, that's props to my guy.
Some guys said, like Shannon Sharp, that the play you had with Hollister was like pass interference, defensive pass interference. Some guys said the other way around. I just talked to Sherman. He said that the Rudolph play, he saw it as defensive pass interference. But for you as a defensive player, is it frustrating the lack of consistency around the league generally with that specific play?
Yeah. I think in that situation, it probably could have gone either way, honestly. I think the fact that he kind of made contact with me was the biggest deciding factor in that play. They tried to run the same play before. The play before, I think Russ missed him because he kind of created that separation at first. So that second time around, he tried to do it again, and that's when I kind of tried to keep a tighter coverage, you know, and I won the rep.
What kind of impact can the crowd have on a game like this on Saturday?
Oh, huge. It's going to be really fun, really electric atmosphere. You know, I know the faithful are going to show up big, so looking forward to it. It's going to be fun.
All right. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.